Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Basili, your orthopedics faculty with Marrow, and it gives me immense pleasure to introduce Dr. Shaurya to all of you, who has scored 244 in his first attempt of FMG exam this year. And he comes from medical college in Russia, where he did his undergraduation. Dr. Shaurya, can you tell us a little bit about yourself here before we start congratulating you and spending a little time there?
Good afternoon, sir. Myself, Dr. Shaurya Gandhi, and I completed my medicine from Smolensk State Medical University, which is in Russia, and I graduated last year. And this is my first attempt. And so it's an honor to be sharing this screen space with you and having an interview with you, sir.
First of all, I can understand where you're coming from, but more than you, I personally feel very happy and excited when I speak to somebody who has, you know, cleared all the difficult parts and hurdles to come to this phase of their life. So, congratulations to you. This is
Thank you,
not a
sir.
small feat. Don't undermine this thing. This is a huge moment in your life. You must have been waiting for this since many, many years, and I can imagine it must have taken a lot of hard work. And that is why we are here. We want to discuss what you did step by step so that the juniors who are watching you now can draw some inspiration from your uh, difficulties and achieve the same success that you have achieved. So can you tell me when did you start using Marrow to clear this FMG exam?
Sir, I subscribed to Marrow in my third year, towards the end of my third year, and I've been using Marrow since then. I've been using it till now, till the examination, and I completed all the video lectures, like all the main video lectures. I used to be very sincere with the video lectures. I used to practice the QBanks. I used to do a lot of custom modules also, and that was my preparation and revisions. Definitely, a lot of revisions as well.
Right. So, I mean, since you started with Marrow videos, let's start there. In third year, towards the end, you have started with Marrow videos. Can you tell us what did you do with Marrow videos? Because Marrow videos have a lot of information. They have a lot
Yeah.
of concepts that are discussed in great detail and has a lot of depth. So, how did you
Yeah.
manage to cover the Marrow videos, and what were the things that you did with Marrow videos?
So when I started in my third year, actually I started watching. Initially, I watched pathology, then I watched obs and gynae. So I used to watch I used to watch all the videos, and then I used to study all the notes. And actually, it was a lot of content. But as I started solving questions, I came to know that okay, this is the main point. Like I have to know these points better, and these are the most asked points in the examination. So then that helped me to narrow down the information that I had to learn and remember. So
Okay, so
I used
although
to,
you covered the videos, only with the
yeah.
question bank, you realized that these are the areas I should focus on.
Yeah, definitely, sir. With the question
So,
bank,
did you
it gets
manage to finish all the videos?
like for all the subjects, I didn't do all the videos. I actually also did the revision videos because they were absolutely fantastic. Like the revision videos had like for the shorter subjects, I used to do the revision videos because I knew that the question quantity is going to be lesser. It's around 5 to 10 questions for the short subjects. So I knew that with the revision videos also, I could get a percentage of 90% to get the questions correct. So I focused on the revision videos and I did multiple revisions so that I remember every line that is there in the notes so that I don't make a mistake in those short subjects because they're very scoring, and that's why I did the revision videos. But for the major subjects like obs and gynae or surgery or in case of like ophtha, ENT and all those major subjects like clinical ones, I did the major main videos.
Right. So let me just summarize what you have said here. For major subjects, you have done the regular
Yeah,
videos
yeah,
end to end without leaving out anything.
yeah,
But
yeah,
for shorter subjects, because you realized that the content that is tested on your exam is very limited and you did not
yes,
want to give a lot of time, so you focused on the revision videos. But the point you made is you went back to them again and again so that you do not forget anything in the revision videos. I think for the short subjects, and I think that is
yeah,
a masterful strategy because you knew कि मुझे पढ़ना कम है. I want to read less, but I want to be sure that whatever I read, I should retain. And that is a
yeah.
perfect way of covering major subjects as well as minor subjects. Any particular faculties that have left a mark on you in these videos?
Uh, So actually, all the faculties were awesome. But so your subject, the way you taught orthopedics, because I didn't understand orthopedics like from any other teacher, but the way you taught orthopedics, like you summarized in those 6 7 videos, it was awesome, sir. And like everything that came in the examination or the GTs I used to give or the questions I used to solve, it was sufficient with your notes. So it was awesome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm sure all the other teachers have been amazing as well. But what we have done with revision videos is we have concised everything in a very useful manner rather than just concising it for the sake of concising it. We have concised it in the very sense that it will be useful for people who have not done the regular videos but still want to do the revision videos.
Revision.
Now, when it
Yes.
comes to watching the videos and all, Shaurya, you can watch it, you can enjoy it, you can learn from it. There are a lot of concepts that are answered, but unless
Yeah.
you have notes with you, it will be a
Mm.
little difficult to revise the content that you have read. So, what
Yeah.
was your strategy with notes? Because Marrow has digital notes, Marrow has printed notes. A lot of students write their own notes. What was your strategy with notes?
So for the notes, I purchased the ready-made notes because I'm not like a big fan of making notes. I'm a little lazy in that part. So what I did was I used the ready-made notes, and I used earlier when I had a lot of time, like in fourth year, fifth year, we have a lot of time. So I used to study like all the notes I used to read, like used to cover. But then I realized that it's not going to be possible later on. So then I started marking those areas which, like specifically in the major notes, which are going to be required later on. Like the questions come in those areas and all. So when I used to revise later on, then even though I had the main notes, but I knew that these areas are important, and I used to navigate accordingly through those main notes as well.
So you had your regular notes with you, the printed ones, but you have
Yeah.
annotated them, marked the areas that you need to come back to again and again without
Yes.
wasting your time reading everything in notes,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And towards the end, did you consolidate them? Did you make them concise enough for you to make quick revisions in succession?
Yeah, I did, sir. Like I said, sir, I didn't used to make those notes and all, but I used to, even to during the last months and all, I used to still use the main notes only. But like I was very
Mhm.
confident that I have done it so many times that even if I had the main notes, I can still do it in a day because I
So,
knew
so
that
you
these
did
are.
not jump to revision notes. You kept your main notes, you narrowed it down, and you just kept on revising it from there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it kind of helped in your, memory to recall where the things were there in the notes
Yeah, yeah, sir. And
because
so
you
I
did not
have
know.
this thing like just doing a little bit like shortcut things and all. I just don't get satisfied. So it's like if I read cover to cover or I do the main things, then I feel like yes, I have done it now and I've covered everything. So I get that feeling, and I only get it after covering everything.
Yes, and I've realized that that sense of confidence and sense of completion actually gives you the confidence to attempt questions that you're, not familiar with because you know कि यार मैंने सब पढ़ रखा है. Maybe I can still rule out the options and get to the answer. And that
Yeah,
only comes from a sense of completion that you are talking about. I can understand. Now, when it comes to the actual exam, we know that the exam is not a theory-based exam. It's an exam where there are questions and you have to answer. So for that, you have to be familiar with the whole question patterns and question styles. So for that, a lot of students hesitate to appear for the question bank, even though most of the people know that Marrow question bank is the standard question bank. A lot of MCQs are answered on the exam based on the Marrow question bank. What was your style and approach to the question bank? Did you start with the NEET PG question bank or did you start with the FMG question bank? Did you do the question bank first or the videos first?
okay, sir. So, firstly, I did the videos. I understood the topic. Then I used to read the notes, and then after that, almost till I guess till October, November of 2024, I was on the NEET PG section only. I used to do NEET PG and AIMS questions like till October, November 2024. Then I realized that I also have to check out the FMG also because I'm appearing for the FMG. So I went back on the FMG section, and I started doing the custom modules because I didn't have the time to solve all the QBanks of FMG again. So I found that custom modules were good enough, and I used to put up the hashtags of NEET, AIMS, FMG, clinical, and the most commons and all that. I used to solve that, and then definitely the previous year papers as well. So I solved them multiple times again and again. Even though I knew the answers and everything, yet I went back to those questions and I solved them multiple times.
Yeah, because you wanted to be sure कि even if this question I know comes on the exam, you don't
Yeah,
want to waste time thinking about it. The answer should come
definitely.
reflexively so that you can move on to the next question, which might take a lot of time. And
Yes,
now,
sir.
since you were talking about custom modules, I'm sure, yeah, I want to know when you did custom modules, did you do custom modules for only one or two subjects, or you did add multiple subjects together?
Initially, sir, I used to do it for like a single subject only, because I wanted it to be like I wanted to achieve at least 85-90% in that subject. So I knew that if I'm achieving that much in the NEET PG AIMS area, I can achieve at least definitely 80 to 90 in the FMG part as well. Then I started mixing subjects as well, topics as well accordingly, which I felt like I have to complete them, and so I used to do the mixing also.
Mhm. Right, wonderful. So this custom modules gives you the ability to actually, bunch up a few subjects and
Yeah.
ask questions randomly. So this does not give you the bias of subject familiarity. For example, if you're doing a subject test of a particular subject, na, so you
Mm.
always have that bias. यार ये सारे questions ना are from ortho. So you're always
Mm.
thinking in terms of ortho. But when you
Yeah.
mix multiple subjects together, you never know whether it's from ortho or SPM or medicine or general surgery. I mean, you might get some sense, but you're not actually accurate about it. And this opens up your mind to answer questions that are, slightly difficult or confusing on the day of the exam. Wonderful strategy. Now, when it comes to giving tests, a lot of students I personally know are very hesitant to appear for grand testing. And the reason for that, they say, sir, if we write a grand test and if our score comes low, we will feel underconfident and we lose the confidence. So, what was
Yes.
your approach to grand test? When did you start giving them? And what did you do after giving the grand tests?
I started my grant tests in September only last year. Actually, I had this thing in mind that I should at least have some knowledge before I appear for the grant tests, because I felt like if you don't have that information, if you not studied that subject, appearing for it is like almost it's not worth it, because you don't get those marks as it is and you feel demotivated. Rather, you just complete at least 15, 16 subjects, you are somewhere, and then you give the grant test, you'll be getting a score, and then actually that is the right evaluation. So I'll
Okay.
recommend that if you complete most of your subjects by graduation and then you start grant test, that will make sense rather than just giving grant test without having the knowledge of anything.
So, what was your strategy? You started it in September, and were you giving it once a month, or twice a month, or thrice a month?
Uh, it was initially once a month only. I gave around 5 to 6 grant tests only, and the first one I gave was in September, and then I gave another one in October, then in November, then in December, like that. Every month I used to give. As I finished my revisions, again and again I used to give it.
And post GT, did you see the GT analytics that are given out in Marrow to see which are your weak areas and where you should focus on?
Definitely, sir. I used to check that out as well. Like I used to check it subject wise, like what mistakes I've made and all. A lot of times I used to make those silly mistakes. I just don't know why I made those mistakes, but like then I used to check it out, because a lot of times it happened that the tougher questions I was getting correct and the easier ones I was making a mistake in. So I used to make those. I used to check it out, then I used to analyze. Then I used to make sure that okay, I don't make that mistake again. So analytics is extremely important, definitely.
So it must have told you, again, each after each grand test, you must have realized, यार ये subject बार-बार नीचे आ रहा है. This is something I really need to improve and work on. Was there a subject like this for you that you had to work on later on?
Yeah, I had sir, I think it was PSM, because the information was just so much that even though I used to study everything, still I used to miss on certain topics. So it always used to come like at the bottom line. But it was not like I used to get 70%, I guess, but I was planning that at least I should cross 80% also. So that was always at the bottom line, but I tried improving it as much as possible.
And I'm sure it has worked for you. I want to understand what was your strategy in terms of reviewing the grant test after giving it? Because a lot of students say, sir, time nahi milta. I'm unable to review all the questions. Should I review the wrong questions only? Should I review the correct questions also? What was your strategy?
While reviewing, I first reviewed the wrong questions, because I felt like that should be reviewed first. And after reviewing the wrong questions, if I felt like I have to bookmark this question because maybe this is important, then I bookmark them. I used to maybe make points also on a piece of paper or something like that. And the ones I got correct, that also I reviewed. I didn't go through all the explanations, but I just had that okay, I've got this correct. Means I was thinking in the right terms.
Right. So we firstly focused on the wrong ones, and you also
Yeah.
had time. If you had time, you looked at the correct ones just to make sure
Yeah.
that you were thinking correctly. Now, you said that you have given only 6 to 7 grand tests, but
Yeah.
can you tell me if I'm wrong in assuming that you must have practiced a lot of questions throughout the year, not only in the grand test, but you must have been doing questions throughout the year whenever you finish the subject, isn't it?
Yeah, so I have been doing a lot of questions, like I guess around 10, 12,000 questions at least, like throughout these years, or I guess I must have solved, because
Yeah.
like 5 to 6 grant tests, I don't think so it's that much, because students give a lot of grant tests, but because questions, that helped me actually, sir. So even with lesser grant tests, I was getting because of the questions.
So that is a very important takeaway here. Even though you have given less grand tests, say 5 or 6 grand tests, you
Yeah,
have to realize that you have actually experienced the whole question and answer game. And that is what has made you confident and familiar with the important areas of the subject. And this is something a lot of students don't realize. They feel कि बस theory पढ़ लेंगे और फिर grand test दे देंगे और exam को चले जाएंगे. Theory
hmm.
पढ़ने से नहीं होगा. You have to actually start doing a lot of questions of the same theory that you have done again and again, and only then your scores in that subject will improve. Grand test is just a consolidator of information and gives you a
Definitely.
total picture of your preparation. But
Yeah,
knowing the questions on a daily basis is something that has no replacement whatsoever. Right now,
definitely, sir.
before we go, Dr. Shaurya, I want you to take few moments and think about 2 to 3 things that you would want your juniors to do to make their journey to clearing FMG easier.
Okay, sir. So, first thing I would say that you have to start early. Don't wait like till the last year, or once you come back to India, you'll be starting. You have to start early. and you have to use the right resources. You have to study well with dedication. It shouldn't be just for the sake of it, but with the actual dedication. You have to study it, solve your questions regularly, don't be afraid of questions, and put in all what you have inside, and definitely you'll be crossing this examination with a lot of ease actually.
Wonderful. I mean, the most important thing that you have said is starting early, because I understand this is a long journey, a lot of syllabus to cover.
Definitely.
Starting late will definitely be a disadvantage. Starting early is important. And you have said about, picking up the right resources. There is a lot of confusion in the market in terms of resources that I want you to help us understand. There are resources that are very short courses, a few hours of a subject, and they will finish the whole course in a few days. There are few short books available. I mean, what is your take? I mean, is it worth pursuing the content that is there in Marrow, or should we look for something that is, smaller and more concise and more crisper? Will it actually help us?
So I would just say that Marrow is just sufficient enough, and the entire faculty is just perfect. You don't have to go anywhere else. Just trust the faculty. Go through all the videos, the lectures, the notes, the questions they have, and it is like it's best even for INI seat. Like FMG is nothing in front of it. So if you're doing it at like if you're studying it so well from Marrow, people are clearing INI seat. So FMG is obviously going to happen with Marrow, definitely. So you have to stick with Marrow, stay with Marrow, study everything in Marrow, and just focus on Marrow. That's all.
And one more thing I want to understand is a lot of people, who travel abroad to study, they have a lot of challenges on their own, settling in a new place, learning a new language, and all of this. And it takes a lot of time. What is your say in terms of dedicating, set amount of hours every day? Do you think a few hours every day is enough, or we just can't do it like that? We have to give them a lot of hours every day.
It's like it depends upon your schedule actually. If you don't have much time, at least give some like an hour or something where you can revise something, where you can solve something. And the days where you are free, you should definitely put in more hours. And like every day you have to be doing something. You don't skip a day unless you're feeling quite overwhelmed with studying. Then you can take a day off, maybe in like a week or 10 days or something. But be regular in your preparation and make sure you're studying and also having a good study partner. That's also quite important.
Very nice. I think that summarizes everything that we were looking for. You have to start early, pick the right resource, stick with it, even if it's your bad day. On good days, you do more. And if you're
Yeah.
lucky, find the right partner to study with, and they will make this journey easier. So it was so nice speaking to you, Dr. Shaurya, and your insights about preparation was so helpful. I'm sure the juniors will love it and they will use it in their own preparation. Thank you for giving us time. I wish you all the best and more success to you in the future. And I will see you on the other side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, sir.